Hello and welcome to Views on News. I'm Jawad. Tehami. Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif is in Uzbekistan on an official visit for 2 days on the invitation of the President, Mr. Shavkat Mirziyoyev. And the Foreign Office says in a statement, let me quote, Prime Minister of Pakistan and President of Uzbekistan during the bilateral meeting would discuss all areas of bilateral cooperation, including connectivity, economic, trade, investment, energy, defense and security, regional stability and education. The leaders would also exchange views on regional and international issues of mutual interest. A number of bilateral agreements, memoranda of understandings will also be signed. The Prime Minister would also address the Pakistan-Uzbekistan Business Forum. Pakistan and Uzbekistan are bound together by common bonds of history, culture, religion and their aspirations for peace and development. The Prime Minister's visit underscores Pakistan's commitment to further strengthen its ties with Uzbekistan through fostering greater economic collaboration and exploring new avenues of partnership as part of the strategic vision for regional integration and economic prosperity, unquote. After his arrival in Tashkent, Uzbekistan, Prime Minister also visited the Independence Monument, where he laid a floral wreath to pay tribute to Uzbekistan's historical figures and expressed his best wishes for the country's progress and the hard-working Uzbek people. Before this particular official visit to Uzbekistan, Prime Minister, along with a high-level delegation, including the Deputy Prime Minister as well as Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar, visited Azerbaijan on the invitation of Azeri President Mr. Ilham Aliyev. And the discussions took place between the two leaders on a wide-ranging issues of mutual interest. Also, during the joint presser, Ilham Aliyev talked of the interest of the Azeri investors in Pakistan, also saying $2 billion Azeri investment will be coming to Pakistan. Also, discussions happened regarding as to how the defense ties between the two countries had been, and also the prospects of joint military industrial production as well. These two important significant visits back to back by Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, their significance, the prospects of enhancing these two relationships, particularly given on the front of economy, in terms of regional connectivity, and also the understanding, the mutual understanding regarding the regional stability, security, as well as the major global issues. To discuss all this, we are honored to be joined in the studio by Mr. Zamir Ahmad Awan, Foreign Affairs expert. Mr. Awan, thank you very much for your time, for being with us on the show tonight. Really appreciate that. Online, we are honored to be joined by Ms. Naela Chohan, former ambassador and former Special Secretary of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Pakistan. Ms. Naela, thank you very much for your time also for being with us on the show tonight. Really appreciate that. Mr. Awan, let's talk about this particular bilateral relationship of Pakistan with Uzbekistan in particular. Where do we track the origins of this particular bilateral relationship?
Uzbekistan and Pakistan, they share a lot of things in common. We are the Muslim, we have the cultural bond, and we have the historical linkages. You know, after Holy Quran, the best recommended book or authentic book about Islam or Hadith is Bukhari Sharif and Tirmizi, which are originally from Imam Bukhari and Imam Tirmizi, who are Uzbek people. So we have a lot of respect for Uzbekistan people and their scholars, and this historical bond of religion, culture is very strong. Coming to the bilateral relation, Uzbekistan and Pakistan support each other on their own all core issues and enjoy the identical views on the regional and global issues. Especially currently we have the same point of view on Palestinian issues, and Uzbekistan is supporting Kashmir cause, and we are promoting the regional harmony. Overall, this whole Central Asia is a strategic partner with Pakistan. Bilateral relation with Uzbekistan specifically, we have very strong trade relation, and a lot of Pakistani students are studying there, and some of the Uzbek students are studying in Pakistan. We have education relation, cultural relation, trade relation, and also investments. Recently, we held some series of the exhibition in Pakistan from the Central Asian states. in Lahore, Gujranwala, and other cities. And this is the way how we are promoting the bilateral trade. And I believe there is a huge potential to enhance this mutual trade.
Right, specifically talking about this particular visit after the arrival over there in Tashkent, Uzbekistan, Prime Minister went to visit Independence Monument, laid a floral wreath over there as well. Specifically talking about the importance and the significance of this Independence Monument. What's the history associated with that?
You know, Uzbekistan has a history of 3,000 years, and this monument has a specific significance. It is in the memory of the heroes who struggled for this nation, and the visit of Prime Minister to their heroes and his best wishes or his goodwill gesture will play important role and improve the relation and strengthen the brotherly ties between two nations. This means that we acknowledge and we appreciate the heroes of Uzbekistan, and this is the best way to win the hearts and minds of the people of the two countries.
Right now, looking at this particular statement by the Foreign Office, the areas which have been mentioned, there would be a bilateral meeting between Prime Minister and Uzbek President. Also, the areas of bilateral cooperation, particularly when we talk about connectivity, economic trade, investment, energy, defense and security, regional stability and education. So it's a quite a holistic list if we look at this. Let's specifically talk about the first one in terms of connectivity. Greater bilateral cooperation. Two important countries, back-to-back visits to them, Azerbaijan, and now when we talk about Uzbekistan, Pakistan's foreign policy objectives through these visits, particularly when it comes to enhancing the connectivity with these Central Asian republics.
Basically, Pakistan attaches high importance to the Central Asian states. The reason behind that one is, of course, the religion and the culture ties, and definitely the economic ties. Connectivity is the most important factor in these visits, because Pakistan has developed in infrastructure, development at the Gwadar port, and the network of the motorways and highways in Pakistan are just to facilitate the whole Central Asia to use Pakistani ports for import and export. The trade through Gwadar, trade through Karachi, trade through Pakistan is the one of the most significant in our foreign policy for the Central Asia. Central Asia is the landlocked countries, and the nearest and the easiest, the convenient port is from Pakistan. And as long as Afghanistan becomes stable and there is no more turmoil, then the trade is with Central Asia through Pakistan is very convenient. The location of Gwadar is a very lucrative location. It connects with Africa, with Europe, with the Middle East, and it is the hot water deep sea port. Deep sea port means that it has the capacity to cater the huge and the biggest cargo ships. So it has a huge capacity and potential, and Central Asia must be the beneficiary of these routes. And the connectivity is the behind all these efforts.
Right, we are joined by Ms. Naela Chohan. Ms. Naela, when we talk about this particular statement by the Foreign Office, let me quote an excerpt. Pakistan and Uzbekistan are bound together by common bonds of history, culture, religion, and their aspirations for peace and development. The Prime Minister's visit underscores Pakistan's commitment to further strengthen its ties with Uzbekistan through fostering greater economic collaboration and exploring new avenues of partnership as part of the strategic vision for regional integration and economic prosperity. How this particular bilateral relationship of Pakistan and Uzbekistan has fared so far, and what are the prospects when you talk about the further convergences or the commonalities between the two nations?
Well, thank you so much for inviting me to your program. As has been said by the preceding speaker, Pakistan and Uzbekistan relations are very well founded since their independence. At that time, I was director for Central Asian republics, so I laid the foundation of our relations with all the Central Asian republics, including Uzbekistan. There are many facets to our relationship. We are members of many international and regional organizations like OIC, like UN, like SCO, like ECO. And the objective has always been for Pakistan to not only enhance its cultural and social ties with these republics, but also mutually beneficial economic and trade relations. As you know, in Afghanistan also, there's a very large Uzbek population, and we have been consulting our Uzbek friends on peace and stability in Afghanistan as well, because we wish to have more transit trade to the mutual benefit of not only the two countries but the region. So this visit is particularly important because it is not only to strengthen bilateral political ties, but also further enhance trade relations. Uh, we have been working on it particularly since last few years, we have been focusing on promoting our trade to have more, air links also until pending the road links since the development of CPEC, Gwadar to Kashgar, then you can link up to other Central Asian republics. So it's a multifaceted relationship. This visit then particularly holds an importance in all these contexts.
Right, Ms. Naela, when we specifically talk about Independence Monument, what does that particularly signify? Prime Minister, after his arrival, going to the Independence Monument, also laying a floral wreath over there.
That is always a symbolic gesture that any head of state would do when visiting another country because it is paying tribute to the people who laid their lives to get the independence. It is basically showing respect to them and their history and culture. So that has a very important symbolic value.
Of this particular bilateral relationship being multifaceted, what sort of an impetus does it give to the overall regional stability?
Well, as I mentioned, it has impact on Pakistan Afghanistan relations also. It has impact on peace and stability in the whole region. It has impact on further development of BRI. It has impact on further fortification of Economic Cooperation Organization, ECO. So there are many areas where this visit would have very positive impact.
Right, Mr. Awan, now when we talk about this particular bilateral partnership between Pakistan and Uzbekistan, what sort of a model does it present to the outer world when it comes to the joint efforts in ensuring the regional peace and stability?
In fact, both countries are facing similar challenges and similar issues, and bilateral relationship, especially in the trade and investment, will help both countries. We are the beneficiary of each other's strength. For example, Pakistan is a population of 250 million and full of human resource, and especially our youth. We can help Uzbekistan in development of their country, their nation, and Uzbekistan has also some of its strengths, and we can utilize and beneficiary of their strength. So bilateral relationship, I mean, especially in the economic ties, we can support each other, we can make up each other, and we can eradicate the poverty and work together for the prosperity.
Right, we are on to being joined by another participant in the show, Mr. Shikoh Atif, senior economist. Mr. Shikoh Atif, thank you very much for your time, for being with us on the show tonight. Really appreciate that. Are you with us? Can you hear us, please?
Certainly. It's a privilege to be here. Thank you.
Very much for being with us. What's your understanding regarding us in terms of economic diplomacy? Both the countries have a vision of enhancing this particular bilateral relationship in terms of economy, trade, investment, energy, as well as connectivity. Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif currently visiting Uzbekistan as we speak on a 2-day official visit. How economic diplomacy has worked so far between the two countries? What had been the trajectory and what are the prospects ahead?
Certainly. If the start of 2025 has taught us anything, it is that no one can rely uh, on any international relationships, and that lesson has been taught to the world by the United States. I happen to be in Canada presently, and the biggest challenge here is that 75% of our trade was with one partner, the United States. And now that they've changed their tune, we are left wondering, Canadians are left wondering. So Pakistan is very smart to look for multiple connectivity in trade, and especially in the region of energy, which is the backbone of any economic revival. Pakistan had a conducive relationship with Qatar as far as LNG is concerned, but since the past 1 year, Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has put in tremendous efforts towards Azerbaijan, towards this region to develop LNG resources, and now very soon there's going to be direct flights from Karachi to there as well. So I really think that this the gentleman that you were discussing with earlier on was talking about the human resource factor. There are a lot of synergies to be found, especially in this region, which is untapped as far as potential economic partners is concerned. And energy is one of them, human resource is one of them, education, the education sector. And I know that the Prime Minister is going to be speaking with their business bureau, and all the leading Pakistani businessmen are going to be there as well, and as well as their businessmen. And then later on, when it comes to fruition, and the stick-to-itiveness of this government. Lots of these bilateral relationships, the seeds get planted, but then it doesn't come to fruition. But this effort, I know, has been going on for the past 1 year at least, and now I think it is time that it starts bearing fruit, and we're really excited.
You look at this particular progress as far as the bilateral trade between Pakistan and Uzbekistan is concerned. It has grown from $27 million in 2019 and 20 to $126 million in 2022 and 23. Quite a substantial jump. And do you see it going ahead even more considerably?
Yeah, absolutely. And the one thing that we have done really well is now in itself, it's a tremendous growth trajectory as you just put forth. But what Pakistan has been able to provide these landlocked countries like Uzbekistan is access to the port. So Pakistan, because of its strategic location, has been their route to rest of the world. And if we can strengthen these supply chains, and if we can make good on this infrastructure, and you mentioned this recently. I was mentioning the United States. United States was in Pakistan a little while ago, and they were flabbergasted at our strategic position, because they said, most of the places that have minerals and resources hidden underneath its soil, they don't have the infrastructure laid to bring it out and to bring it to refineries. Now, Pakistan is one place that has that. Now, it can service Pakistani's resources, but the big amazing point about this situation is that it can also, this laid down underground infrastructure these supply chains can also be supply chains to all of these Central Asian countries, including Uzbekistan, Azerbaijan, etc., etc. So once we reach that, because of our strategic position, I can only see what you just touched upon growing many, many fold.
Right. When we specifically talk about, Prime Minister had a two-day official visit to Azerbaijan as well. During the joint presser, Azeri president also talked of the interest of the Azeri investors to invest in Pakistan, also hinting at $2 billion dollars of Azeri investment coming into Pakistan. How crucial a step that is when we specifically talk about Pakistan's economic challenges, authorities, in fact, the entire country eyeing for the foreign direct investment. How crucial a step that is in that particular direction?
So you use a very strong word, which is crucial. It is crucial, but not only in the $2 billion that are being invested. The crucial part of it also is, in my view, the signal it sends to the rest of the world that Pakistan is a safe place, safe to invest, where its assets are undervalued, and this is the time to get in. So the $2 billion is significant, but also as a signal to rest of the international countries, it is significant.
Community, what sort of outcomes could be expected as a manifestation of that?
Sometimes Pakistan, because of many reasons, it feels a little bit, let's say, isolated, internationally, mostly because of our economic challenges, but this, where our relationship is not the relationship of equals, because we're looking for aid sometimes we're looking to borrow, etc., etc. But these relationships are very much relationships of equals. And if we can establish this momentum going forth as the vision of the Prime Minister states, I really think this is going to be start of something amazing. And there are so many cultural similarities between our culture and Azeris and Uzbekistan and all of these regions. Because a lot of our, a part of the roots of people who came to Pakistan who are from Central Asia also, besides being locals to the subcontinent. So there's a lot of cultural similarities also once we sort of start this inter-country trade. I really am truly excited.
Right. Mr. Shikoh, Atif, Azeri president, during that particular joint presser with Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, said Azerbaijan has already acquired defense equipment from Pakistan. We are satisfied with the quality of this equipment and will continue to do it. At the same time, is also talked of the opportunity of joint manufacturing in defense industrial items. What do you see in this particular domain?
So, to be honest with you, even with the trade, with providing certain continuity, because, like in every democracy, governments come, governments go. But what one part of Pakistan has given it continuity and international economies the confidence to do business with is SIFC. And the work that they do is top quality, international quality. So, and in even our defense manufacturing, if there is anything that we can absolutely certainly say our production can match the production of any country, any region across the world, that is defense. So I am not surprised that the Azeris are actually looking to learn from us, partner with us, and benefit from us. And especially since they don't have access to, to global markets, and we are very, very competitive in this one sector. And you're so right to point at it and bring attention to it. I really think that is we are. If anything, I don't think that this is our hidden strength. manufacturing in this area. And if it is marketed properly, because the production is of significantly higher quality than a lot of the work in similar areas done even in the West. So I really think if it is marketed properly, just this one sector can get Pakistan out of its sort of malaise.
One last question, education sector, when it comes to the commonalities of Pakistan's culture, religion, and a number of other things with these Central Asian republics, including Uzbekistan and Azerbaijan. This particular sector, how do you think these bilateral relationship can actually find out new vistas with the changing global circumstances when it specifically comes to education sector?
For sure. So as an economist, part-time, I've been closely associated with the education sector, teaching at universities across the world. One thing that Pakistan sometimes seems to lack in many areas is, as I said earlier on, we tend to sort of stand alone. What this does is, as the visa restrictions come into place in many other parts of the world for our young, dynamic Pakistanis, this is one area which, if it opens up properly, will allow us to form joint programs, joint academic programs, joint business studies programs. What it would do is it'll help the Central Asians, us help them internationalize themselves, and them help us internationalize ourselves and maintain those international standards. Because, to be honest with you, the world is a very small place now. And if we just use our own measures to say we have succeeded or we have failed, we'll never truly succeed at a global level. So, with what these partnerships brought properly into the education sector, and with joint degrees, so from a university of Azerbaijan and from, say, Quaid-e-Azam University, there should be a degree which says I am an MBA from Quaid-e-Azam University and University of Uzbekistan. Now, the power of that standing even across the world would be so much higher than just a Quaid-e-Azam University degree or just a University of Uzbekistan degree. So, really, this opportunity, this education together, the only thing challenge with these partnerships might be the language barrier. Of course, it's an international language, so English would be the joint medium to sort of help our students graduate. But I see tremendous potential there, and it's a tremendous opportunity for Pakistan to sort of grow into. And really, I truly give credit to this government for bringing such a strong focus to the Central Asian countries.
Atif, senior economist, thank you very much for being with us on the show tonight. Really appreciate that. Ms. Naela, last month we saw Uzbekistan's ambassador to Pakistan announced his government's plan to introduce a new direct flight route between Tashkent and Karachi. This particular describing it as a significant step to foster closer ties between the two nations. How it will impact the people-to-people contacts, and when we specifically talk about the people-to-people contacts, when it comes to this particular bilateral relationship, does it work as a cementing factor in order to give more strength to it?
It definitely does, because the revival of flights, as you know, Pakistan had signed a transit trade agreement with Uzbekistan, which is called UPTA, Uzbekistan-Pakistan Transit Trade Agreement. We also have a preferential trade agreement with them. But the volume of our trade has not been to the commensurate level because of lack of stability in Afghanistan and the available transit trade routes. Consequently, the revival of the flight has contributed to it. Funny enough, when these republics had become independent in 91, 92, even at that time when we were talking about promotion of trade relations, uh, it was through air. And at that time, we used to call them suitcase traders who would bring things in their suitcases and sell here, and from here take things in suitcases. But now, because of institutionalization of our trade relations, the flight connectivity, the people to people contact further promotes business to business contact. So I think this revival of airline uh, is great. At one point, Pakistan Airlines was also going there. I hope that we revive that too. But our bilateral political consultations or joint ministerial consultations, our joint security commission meeting, all these are very important when it comes to Uzbekistan. The volume of trade is in favor of Uzbekistan. We need to enhance our productivity and to export it to Central Asian markets, particularly Uzbekistan and Azerbaijan.
Right, you were of the view because of the lack of stability in Afghanistan, this particular volume of the bilateral trade between Pakistan and Uzbekistan is not up to its full potential. I think we've lost the connection with Ms. Naela. We'll go back to her once we reconnect with her. Mr. Awan, now lack of stability in Afghanistan, as Ms. Naela has talked of, that's why the bilateral trade volume between Pakistan and Uzbekistan is not up to that very potential. Can both the countries chalk out a collective strategy in order to ensure that Afghanistan remains stable and the authorities which are governing Afghanistan at the moment fulfill the international commitment?
In fact, when the Taliban took over in 2021, there was hopes that Afghanistan becomes stable, and our wish, long dream, that we establish close trade relation with the whole Central Asia will be fulfilled. But unfortunately, the Afghanistan stubborn government, our hardline stance has not fulfilled our dreams.
So what's the way forward? Is there any sort of possibility when we specifically talk about the Central Asian republics in Pakistan to impress upon the Afghan authorities, which of course has a strategic significance, how that strategy or the alternatives could be opted?
I think that all the Central Asian countries and Pakistan is pressurizing Afghan Taliban to normalize the situation on ground and facilitate trade routes. Even that Russia and China is also working on this one. But unfortunately, all other countries, neighboring countries of Afghanistan, are trying to negotiate with them and settle down their issues. Recently, there was an agreement signed between some of Central Asian countries and Afghanistan on the railway linkage. They have a trade MOU signed with Iran. They are using the Chabahar seaport for export. Only Pakistan is lacking behind in this way. I think we need also to double our efforts to normalize relation with Afghanistan, and with the help of all the Central Asian countries.
Pakistani authorities had been diplomatically engaging with them.
Definitely.
So what about their side of the commitment?
Definitely. Whatever is the problem from their side, we cannot dictate, but we will try our best to bring the thing on the normal routine ways. And
so how do you look
definitely
at this particular bilateral relationship when it comes in trade between Pakistan and Uzbekistan? It has considerably grown, $27 million in 2019 and 20, to $126 million in 2022 and 23.
You know, this the bilateral visits, especially head of the states, head of the governments, are very important. They bring two nations closer and improve the trade relation. Recently, Pakistani Prime Minister has visited 2 days ago with Azerbaijan, and he met with the business community in Azerbaijan, and some of the Pakistani businessmen were also there and accompanied with the Prime Minister's delegation. So they have the intention, both sides have the intention to improve the trade between Azerbaijan and Pakistan up to $1 billion. That is big jump. And also Azerbaijan has consented that they have shown their interest to invest in the Pakistan's motorways, especially Sakhar to Hyderabad and Hyderabad to Karachi, that is worth about $2 billion US. I mean, these high level visits are always important. Now our Prime Minister is in Uzbekistan. Tomorrow and the day of tomorrow he might meet the local business community, and there will be some MOU signed. But definitely the objective is to enhance the bilateral trade. And regarding the education, you asked Mr. Atif, in Pakistan and Central Asian state, education is the most important sector where we can do a lot of work. Especially we have some educational cooperation with the Central Asian countries. I was retired recently from the NUST, and we have a close relationship with the Azerbaijan and Uzbekistan universities, and some of our students visit them, and some of their students come to us. We have the faculty exchange program. Both governments are offering scholarship to each other, and especially Pakistan has a strength in the education sector. We are basically the British style English taught programs which are our strength, and Central Asian countries, they need the English teachers, or I mean the English taught programs, and we can provide them the faculty from the Pakistan.
So when it comes to, there was one factor which was mentioned was Shikoh Atif also, the language barrier, how that barrier can be overcome.
Yes, but you know, English is the international language, and all the Central Asian countries are learning English very quickly. I have a lot of contacts with the Central Asian countries since their independence, since 90s. And at that time they was just speaking their own local language and the Russian. But now I don't say how many, more than half or less than half, but a lot of people, the youth learn English very well. So there is no communication barrier at the moment, especially in the Azerbaijan, because I have a lot of contact with the Azerbaijani universities. I have a good friend who is the rector in the Karabakh University, and we are interacting with each other, and they have initiated some English taught programs, and we are trying to help them to find the English faculty, English taught teacher from Pakistan. So there is this barrier exists there. I mean, I don't deny it, but the barrier is narrowing down, and they will overcome very soon.
Right. We are once again reconnected with Ms. Naela Chohan. Ms. Naela, how heartening is it for us to learn that Azeri president has had to say this, that Azerbaijan has already acquired defense equipment for Pakistan. We are satisfied with the quality of the equipment, and we will continue to do it.
This is, mashallah, tribute to our defense forces and our defense production team. Our products are of international standard and much more affordable. With Azerbaijan, our relations are particularly special in the sense that they have been member of OIC contact group on Kashmir. They have been supporting us on that. Also, when it comes to business, as was mentioned before, the Prime Minister attended a business forum organized in collaboration with Export Investment Promotion Agency of Azerbaijan, ESPROMO. The Prime Minister highlighted the implementation of preferential trade agreement which we have both with Uzbekistan and Azerbaijan, as well as the transit trade agreement. The Azerbaijan-Pakistan Chambers of Commerce and Industry has been inaugurated on 1st February 2025. So this is a breakthrough in our trade relations. So the two leaders had expressed their satisfaction over active cooperation at multilateral fora, especially the United Nations, the OIC, the SCO, and Prime Minister Shehbaz also lauded Azerbaijan's continued principled stance on Jammu and Kashmir issue, on the right to self-determination of the people of Kashmir as enshrined in the UN Security Council resolutions. And we also have been supporting Azerbaijan on the Nagorno-Karabakh issue. So there are many issues, Mr. Tehami, where the two countries have very strong bond of love, respect, and support to
You specifically mentioned of how Mr. Shehbaz Sharif has lauded Azerbaijan's continued principled stance on the Jammu and Kashmir issue and the right to self-determination of the innocent people in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, and Pakistan's support, unequivocal support, in fact, to Azerbaijan on Nagorno-Karabakh. This particular mutual understanding, mutual support to each other, what's the significance of that when it comes to the two nations standing shoulder to shoulder, supporting each other in the Committee of Nations, and what sort of a message does it send to the international community?
Well, the visit has underscored the deep-rooted historic and brotherly ties between Pakistan and Azerbaijan and reaffirmed the commitment of the leadership of both the countries to further strengthen the bilateral relationship. And that is a very positive message to the international community in general and to the region in particular, that Pakistan is reaching out to all its neighboring regional countries for promotion of trade, for promotion of better understanding of each other, for peace and stability in the region. So it gives a very positive message to the world about how the government of Pakistan is dealing with the international community.
When it comes to the significance of enhancing the people-to-people contacts, are there any recommendations on your part or the strategies both the countries could actually adopt in order to enhance people-to-people contacts, and how significant a role do you think education sector could play in that regard?
Education is definitely an important role. We have very good educational institutions. We have medical colleges, engineering colleges, which are world-renowned, have produced the best doctors in the world, have produced best engineers in the world, and Central Asian republics do look up to us. So I think if we offer a few scholarships, as well as if they offer us scholarships in these technical areas, because as you may recall, after the project of Uran, Pakistan, the focus is on vocational training, on AI, on technical advancement. Azerbaijan is very advanced in its innovation and technology. So we can learn from them, but obviously language is not a barrier for Pakistanis. Pakistanis are very intelligent. They learn languages. If they learn Russian, it's great, but English is also very much functional in SCO, ECO. The language, the lingua franca is English, so communication shouldn't be that difficult.
Ms. Naela Chohan, a former ambassador and former special secretary, Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Pakistan, thank you very much for taking time out for views on news tonight. Really appreciate that. Mr. Awan, your quick closing comments as to this particular time when these two back-to-back visits of Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif happened to the Central African Republics.
The geopolitics are changing rapidly. Ukraine war is going to end. Palestine issue is getting resolved soon. We hope so. And at least the ceasefire has been achieved. And Europe is changing realignment. And in this circumstances, geopolitics, Pakistan's visit to Central Asia, especially to the closest friend Azerbaijan and Uzbekistan, are very, very important, especially the defense relation. Defense relation means that we have the trust, not only the quality of the weapons which Pakistan produce, but it is the trust that is more important. They believe and they rely on Pakistan. If there is, in case of any circumstances, Pakistan will stand with them. This is more important. Recently, Ukraine, when middle of the war, Elon Musk has suspended the Starlink, which is a disaster. Pakistan is a dependable, reliable friend with the Central Asian.
So one last quick question as to when it comes to defense, joint defense production, what are the prospects between Pakistan
one
and
thing
Azerbaijan?
that Pakistan's quality is excellent, price is affordable, And above all, that we have the trust on each other. We are sincere friends and brothers. That is more important.
Mr. Zamir Ahmad Awan, Foreign Affairs expert, thank you very much for being with us on the show tonight. Really appreciate that. With that, we come to the end of today's episode. Till the next one, take good care of yourselves.